There are moments in life when the world around you shifts, when the unseen becomes more real than the seen, and when your very presence carries a weight that cannot be explained by human understanding. If you notice these things happening, then know that you carry the presence of God. You begin to feel a deep inner peace, one that does not depend on external circumstances. The storms of life may rage, yet within you there is stillness. This is not mere calmness. It is the awareness that you are held, that you are guided, and that nothing can shake the foundation upon which you stand. It is as if the very air around you hums with the assurance of divine protection. The desires of your heart begin to align effortlessly with your reality. Things you once strived for now flow into your life with ease. There is no need for struggle, for you have stepped into the realm of divine manifestation. Your words carry weight. What you speak begins to unfold before you, and what you believe with conviction finds its way into your experience. This is not coincidence. This is the evidence of God's power working through you. People are drawn to you, not for what you do, but for what you radiate. Some will come to you for wisdom, sensing that within you lies something greater than knowledge, a knowing that surpasses human intellect. Others may resist you, for the light within you exposes what is hidden. Your presence alone stirs the hearts of those around you, awakening in them either love or resistance. This is the mark of someone who carries divine presence. You find that obstacles no longer hold power over you. Where once doors remained shut, now they open before you. Paths unfold in ways you never anticipated, and opportunities arrive at the perfect moment. There is no need to chase after anything, for the universe bends in your favor. The energy of struggle is replaced by the grace of divine movement. Even in the face of adversity, you walk with assurance, knowing that all things are working together for your highest good. Your words and thoughts take on a new power. You begin to speak life into situations, and they transform before your eyes. Doubt loses its grip, and faith becomes second nature. You no longer beg or plead. Instead, you affirm, knowing that your prayers are not petitions but declarations of truth. There is an authority in your voice, not from arrogance but from the certainty that you and the divine are one. You experience a heightened awareness of divine synchronicity. You think of something, and almost instantly confirmation appears. A message, a sign, a perfectly timed encounter. Everything aligns as if guided by an unseen hand. It is not luck. It is the natural outworking of carrying God's presence. You are no longer a mere observer of life. You are a creator, moving in harmony with divine will. Even in solitude, you are never alone. You sense the unseen, feel the embrace of a presence that walks with you, speaks to you, and moves through you. Fear dissolves because you know that you are sustained by something eternal. There is no separation between you and the divine. You are the vessel through which divine power flows. What once seemed distant is now as close as your own breath. You begin to see beyond appearances. Where others see lack, you see abundance. Where others see limitations, you see infinite possibilities. Your vision is no longer confined to the physical. You see with the eyes of faith, knowing that reality is shaped by what is unseen. Your world is no longer controlled by circumstances. It is shaped by the power of your belief. When you notice these things, know that you are not ordinary. You carry something sacred, something powerful, something eternal. You carry the presence of God. There is a weight to your existence, a presence that extends beyond flesh and bone. You do not walk as others walk, nor do you see as others see. There is an awareness within you, an unshakable knowing that transcends logic. When you carry the presence of God, life does not happen to you. It flows through you, responding to the force of your consciousness. Everything around you begins to shift. The places you once found comfort in may no longer hold the same appeal. The conversations that once entertained you now feel empty. You are no longer drawn to the noise of the world because something deeper calls you. Silence becomes your sanctuary, not because you are alone, but because in the stillness you can hear the whisper of the divine. The distractions that once captured your attention now fade, for your spirit craves something greater. You are not running from the world, you are ascending above it. Time bends to those who carry the presence of God. What takes years for others to accomplish happens in moments for you. You think it, you believe it, and it manifests. What once seemed distant is now within reach. This is not wishful thinking, it is the nature of divine power. You do not chase, for what is yours gravitates toward you. There is no need for toil, for your very presence commands alignment. You step into a room, and the atmosphere shifts. Those who recognize the presence upon you will be drawn to you, while those who resist it will be unsettled. You are a carrier of something beyond human comprehension. You feel an overwhelming sense of love, not the fleeting kind found in human relationships, but a love that surpasses all understanding. It is the love that calms storms, the love that heals wounds, the love that whispers, "You are not separate, you are one with all that is." You look upon others with compassion, for you see beyond their actions, beyond their words. You see the divine spark within them, even when they cannot see it themselves. Where there is hate, you bring peace. Where there is chaos, you bring order. You do not react to the world, you shape it. Doors open before you as if an unseen hand goes before you, clearing the path. What seemed impossible now stands before you, waiting for you to step into it. You do not beg for opportunities, for you understand that they are drawn to you. You do not fear loss, for nothing real can be taken from you. The presence of God within you is the source of all provision, and you move through life with unwavering confidence. Others may call it luck, but you know the truth. It is the divine working through you. You begin to notice divine patterns. What once seemed like random occurrences now reveal themselves as orchestrated moments of destiny. You think of something, and the answer appears. You speak of someone, and they call you. You take a step forward, and the path unfolds before you. Coincidence no longer exists in your world. Everything is aligned, everything is ordered, everything is working in your favor. This is what happens when you carry the presence of God. People will misunderstand you. They will question your peace, your certainty, your unwavering faith. Some will try to pull you back into doubt, back into the ordinary ways of thinking. But you cannot go back. You have touched something eternal, and nothing less will satisfy you. The opinions of others no longer concern you, for you have found something greater than human approval. You walk with the confidence of one who knows their purpose, one who knows they are guided, one who knows they are never alone. Your words are no longer empty. You speak and things move. You declare and reality aligns. You do not hope for things to change. You expect them to. You understand the power of your voice, the creative force within you. When you say, "Let there be," it is so. The presence you carry does not allow for doubt has no place where God resides. You do not pray with uncertainty, you speak with assurance. You do not ask timidly, you command boldly. Your faith is not fragile, it is unshakable. There is a boldness within you that cannot be explained. Where others hesitate, you move forward. Where others fear, you stand firm. There is no need for validation, for you already know who you are. The presence of God does not make you timid, it makes you powerful. You do not seek to fit in, for you were never meant to. You do not shrink yourself to make others comfortable, for you were created to shine. Your presence alone is a statement, a declaration that something greater is at work within you. You are no longer moved by appearances. What seems like a setback is nothing more than a setup. What looks like loss is only preparation for something greater. You see beyond the surface, beyond the temporary. Your trust is not in what you see with your eyes, but in what you know within your spirit. You walk by faith, not by sight. When others panic, you remain calm. When others retreat, you advance. The presence of God does not allow you to cower. It compels you to rise. You attract favor in ways that cannot be explained. Where others strive, you succeed effortlessly. Where others knock on doors, doors swing open for you. It is not because of who you are, but because of who is with you. You do not need connections, for you are already connected to the source of all things. You do not need permission, for you have already been chosen. The presence of God upon you is your qualification, and nothing can stand in the way of divine favor. Obstacles become stepping stones. What was meant to break you only builds you. What was meant to stop you only propels you forward. You are no longer bound by limitations, for you know that all things are possible. The presence of God within you removes barriers, dismantles opposition, and makes a way where there was no way. You are not waiting for circumstances to change. You are shifting circumstances with your faith. You begin to recognize the divine in every moment. You see God in the sunrise, in the laughter of a child, in the kindness of a stranger. The world is no longer mundane, it is sacred. Every breath is a gift. Every step is ordered. Every encounter is divine. You are aware, awake, alive, in a way that others are not. You see the unseen, hear the unheard, know the unknown. There is no fear in you, for fear cannot exist where God dwells. You do not fear lack, for you know abundance. You do not fear failure, for you know success is inevitable. You do not fear death, for you know that you are eternal. The presence of God dissolves all fear, replacing it with unshakable confidence. You do not hesitate, you do not doubt, you do not retreat. You move forward with the authority of one who knows they are sent. You do not complain, for you understand the power of your words. You do not speak of lack, for you know that what you declare becomes your reality. You guard your tongue, for you recognize that every word carries weight. You do not waste energy on negativity, for you are too focused on creating. Your speech is deliberate. Your thoughts are intentional. Your actions are aligned with divine purpose. You live with gratitude, for you know that everything is working for your good. Even in challenges, you see the blessing. Even in trials, you find the lesson. You do not dwell on what is missing. You celebrate what is already yours. Your heart is full. Your spirit is light. Your mind is at peace. Gratitude is not something you practice. It is something you embody. Your life is a testimony. Without speaking a word, your presence alone tells the story of divine power at work. You are a living, breathing manifestation of God's presence. You do not have to convince others, they see it. You do not have to prove yourself, it is evident. When you walk into a room, something shifts. When you speak, something moves. When you believe, something happens. If you notice these things happening in your life, then know without a doubt that you carry the presence of God. There is a stillness within you that no storm can shake. The world around you may be filled with noise, but inside there is peace. Not the fragile peace that depends on circumstances, but the kind that remains unmoved, unshaken, untouched. It is not the absence of trouble, but the presence of something greater. While others panic at uncertainty, you rest, for you know who holds your future. You do not fear what is to come, for you already walk in the assurance that all things are working for your good. The presence you carry is not one of doubt, but of divine certainty. People begin to come to you, drawn to something they cannot explain. They seek your presence, your words, your energy, though they may not understand why. It is not you they are after, but what is within you. You are a vessel of something divine, and even those who do not know God can sense that you walk with something greater. They bring their burdens, their questions, their confusion, hoping that just by being near you, they might receive clarity. You do not force wisdom upon them, but when you speak, it is as though truth flows through you effortlessly. Your words are not just heard, they are felt. They penetrate the heart, breaking chains, lifting spirits, awakening minds. You will notice that enemies arise, but you do not fear them. Resistance increases, but you do not falter. You understand that opposition is only proof of the power you carry. Darkness does not fight what does not threaten it. The moment you begin to walk fully in the presence of God, those who operate in deception and fear will feel the weight of your presence, but you do not fight with anger. For there is no need. You do not defend yourself, for the truth stands on its own. You do not seek revenge, for vengeance belongs to the divine. You simply stand, unbothered, unshaken, immovable. Your patience deepens. You no longer rush through life, chasing after things that were never meant for you. You do not strive, for you know that what is meant for you will come effortlessly. What others fight for, you attract. What others beg for, you receive freely. You understand that delay is not denial, but divine alignment. There is no need to panic, no need to force, no need to doubt. What is yours will find you, and nothing can take it away. Your trust is complete, your faith unwavering. You find yourself speaking differently. Words of doubt no longer exit your mouth. You do not say, "I hope it works." You say, "It is done." You do not say, "I am afraid." You say, "I am at peace." Your words are not casual, they are declarations. You know that the power of life and death is in the tongue, and you refuse to speak defeat over your life. Your language shifts from lack to abundance, from worry to trust, from uncertainty to confidence. You are careful with your words, for you understand that what you declare becomes your reality. Your energy changes. You do not chase people, you do not force relationships, you do not cling to what is leaving. What is not meant for you falls away effortlessly, and you do not mourn it. You do not grieve lost friendships, for you understand that elevation requires separation. You are not offended when people walk away, for you know that not everyone can go where you are going. You release without resistance, knowing that whatever is meant for you will remain. You are no longer desperate for connection, for you have already found the greatest connection of all. Your desires shift. What once excited you no longer holds your attention. The things that used to entertain you now seem dull. You hunger for wisdom, for truth, for depth. Surface-level conversations no longer interest you. You crave divine insight, revelation, understanding. You no longer waste time on things that do not feed your spirit. Your focus narrows, your priorities change, your heart aligns with a higher calling. What used to drain you now disgusts you. What once tempted you now repels you. You are no longer satisfied with anything less than divine purpose. People around you may not understand. Some will call you distant. Others will say you have changed. They are right. You have changed. You are no longer who you once were. You no longer fit into the spaces that once contained you. You no longer engage in the same distractions. You have outgrown the version of yourself that needed external validation. You no longer seek approval, for you have already been approved by the divine. You do not explain yourself, for truth needs no defense. You do not justify your transformation, for those meant to understand will see it for themselves. You notice miracles more often, not because they were not happening before, but because your eyes are now open to them. The world calls them coincidences, but you know better. You see the hand of God in everything, the timing, the connections, the opportunities. They are too perfect to be random. Everything is orchestrated, everything is aligned, everything is unfolding exactly as it should. You do not doubt, for you see the evidence everywhere. You do not question, for you know that all things are working in divine order. You carry peace with you, and others feel it. You enter a space, and without saying a word, the atmosphere shifts. Tension dissolves, anxiety fades, burdens lighten. It is not your presence that does this, but the presence within you. It is undeniable, unmistakable, unshakable. You do not need to announce it, for it is evident in how you move, how you speak, how you exist. You radiate something beyond human comprehension, something that cannot be fabricated, something that cannot be imitated. You can radiate something that cannot be imitated. You lose interest in arguments, in proving yourself, in convincing others. You are no longer affected by the opinions of those who do not understand your calling. You do not waste energy debating with those who refuse to see. You walk away from conflict, not because you are weak, but because you know your strength is not in words but in presence. You do not engage in battles that are beneath you, for you understand that your victory has already been secured. You do not react to negativity, for you know that nothing can touch you unless you allow it. Your dreams become clearer, more vivid, more powerful. What used to be mere thoughts now come alive. You see glimpses of the future before they unfold. Your intuition sharpens, your discernment deepens. You sense things before they happen. You know things without being told. You feel shifts in the spiritual realm before they manifest in the physical. You are guided, led, directed at every step. You no longer question where you are going, for you trust the one who is leading you. Everything that once confused you now makes sense. The delays, the detours, the disappointments, they were never setbacks, only setups. Every closed door was protection. Every loss was preparation. Every struggle was strengthening you for what is to come. You see now that nothing was wasted, nothing was accidental, nothing was outside of divine design. Every piece of your journey was necessary. Every lesson was preparing you. Every pain was molding you into the person you were destined to become. You are not the same, and you never will be. The presence of God upon you has changed everything. You walk differently, speak differently, think differently. You no longer wait for signs, for you have become the sign. You no longer seek confirmation, for you already know. You do not hesitate, for you have already decided. You are not afraid, for you have already won. If you notice these things happening in your life, then you do not need to question it. You do not need further proof. You do not need validation. You carry the presence of God. It is undeniable, unstoppable, unshakable. You are no longer walking alone. You are no longer searching for answers. You are no longer wondering if you are chosen. You know. And that knowing is all you need. There is a force moving through you, an energy that cannot be contained, a light that cannot be hidden. You feel it when you wake up in the morning, a quiet assurance that no matter what happens, you are held, you are guided, you are seen. You no longer chase after what is already destined to be yours. You no longer beg for what has already been promised. You walk as one who knows that the divine is working on your behalf, orchestrating, aligning, moving the unseen to bring forth the seen. The world around you begins to shift. Situations that once brought you stress no longer hold the same weight. Conversations that once provoked a reaction from you now feel unimportant. You find yourself responding with patience, with wisdom, with grace. It is not that the world has changed, but that you have. You are not the same person who once fought unnecessary battles. You have no desire to prove yourself, no need to defend yourself. The presence you carry speaks for itself. It announces itself before you even open your mouth. People notice that there is something different about you. They may not be able to articulate it, but they feel it. They sense a shift in your energy, a depth in your presence, a power in your silence. You do not need to explain yourself, for your life has become the evidence of something greater at work. You are not moved by gossip, not disturbed by chaos, not shaken by uncertainty. The world may be in turmoil, but you remain anchored. The winds may blow, but you do not sway. The storms may come, but you do not break. You stand firm, unmovable, unstoppable. Doors begin to open effortlessly. Opportunities find you without struggle. What once required force now flows naturally. The things you once ran after now run after you. You understand that what is meant for you cannot be taken, delayed, or denied. You no longer worry about the future because you know the future is already written in your favor. The presence within you ensures that every step is guided, every decision is blessed, every path is made straight. Every path is made straight. There is no need to rush, no need to strive, no need to control. You surrender, and in that surrender, everything falls into place. Your relationships change. Some people will drift away not because you push them out, but because they no longer align with where you are going. Others will be drawn to you, sent by divine timing, meant to walk this journey with you. You do not force connections, for you understand that what is divinely appointed will naturally stay. You do not cling to the past, for you trust that whatever exits your life is making room for something greater. You release with grace, you let go with peace, you trust without fear. You begin to hear divine whispers in the quiet moments. You no longer need loud confirmations, dramatic signs, or external proof. You just know. There is an inner guidance, a sacred intuition that leads you, nudges you, speaks to you in ways that words cannot express. You find yourself in the right place at the right time, making decisions that seem small but later reveal themselves to be monumental. You understand that nothing is random, that every moment is connected, that every experience is shaping you. Your battles are no longer fought with words, with anger, with resistance. You fight by standing still. You win by walking in peace. You overcome by refusing to be shaken. Your power is in your stillness, in your unshakable trust, in your ability to rest even when everything around you is in motion. The presence you carry does not require noise. It does not seek attention. It does not beg to be seen. It simply exists. And in its existence, everything changes. You find joy in the smallest moments. A sunrise, a quiet moment, a deep breath. You no longer need grand achievements to feel fulfilled. You no longer need recognition to feel worthy. You no longer need validation to feel enough. You are enough simply because you exist. You are complete, not because of what you have, but because of who you are. There is a contentment within you that nothing can take away, a joy that is not dependent on circumstances, a gratitude that flows effortlessly, without condition, without expectation. Your vision expands. You no longer see with human eyes, but with divine perspective. You recognize that delays are not denials, that obstacles are only redirections, that every challenge carries a lesson. You do not panic when plans shift, for you understand that what is meant for you cannot be lost. You trust the process even when you do not understand it. You embrace the unknown, knowing that it is leading you somewhere greater. You walk by faith, not by sight, and in doing so, you see what others cannot. Everything about you radiates assurance. You do not question your worth, for you know that you are chosen. You do not doubt your path, for you know that you are guided. You do not fear the future, for you know that it has already been secured. You move differently, speak differently, think differently. You are no longer waiting for permission to be who you were created to be. You are no longer playing small, no longer shrinking to make others comfortable. You stand tall, fully aware of the light you carry, fully confident in the presence that dwells within you. Time bends in your favor. What should take years happens in months. What should be difficult becomes effortless. The impossible becomes possible. It is not luck, not coincidence, not chance. It is the divine presence moving through you, working for you, manifesting around you. You are not striving, you are flowing. You are not forcing, you are allowing. You are not chasing, you are attracting. Everything that belongs to you is making its way to you with perfect timing, with divine precision. You do not compare your journey to others, for you know that your path is uniquely designed for you. You are not in competition, not in a race, not in a hurry. You trust that what is yours will never miss you. You celebrate others without jealousy, knowing that their success does not diminish your own. You move with confidence, knowing that your story is unfolding exactly as it should. There is no need for anxiety, no room for doubt, no space for fear. You trust, and because you trust, you are at peace. The presence you carry cannot be hidden. It is felt in your words, in your silence, in your very being. It is not something you put on, it is something you embody. It does not fade, does not weaken, does not waver. It is constant, unwavering, eternal. It goes before you, making ways where there were none. It surrounds you, protecting you from what you cannot see. It dwells within you, filling you with wisdom, with strength, with clarity. If you have noticed these things in your life, then you already know. You do not need further proof. You do not need confirmation. You do not need validation. You carry the presence of God, and because of that, everything about your life is different. Everything about your future is secure. Everything about your path is aligned. There is nothing to fear, nothing to doubt, nothing to question. You know, and that knowing is enough. There is a certainty that settles within you, a quiet knowing that you are never alone. Even in moments of solitude, there is a presence that envelops you, a warmth that reassures you, a whisper that speaks directly to your soul. You no longer seek external validation because the truth of who you are has already been revealed to you. The world may offer its opinions, but they do not define you. Circumstances may shift, but they do not shake you. And the presence within you is the foundation upon which your life stands, and because of it, you cannot be moved. There is a divine order unfolding in your life. You begin to notice how things align without effort, how opportunities present themselves without struggle. The right people enter your life at the right time. The right doors open exactly when you need them to. You are no longer forcing things to happen, you are allowing them to unfold. You have stepped into a rhythm, a flow, where everything works together for your good. What once seemed impossible now feels inevitable. What once required endless striving now comes with ease. Your perception of time changes. You are no longer in a rush, no longer anxious about the future. You understand that what is meant for you will never miss you. You trust that everything is happening in divine timing, and because of that, you are at peace. Delays do not discourage you. Setbacks do not break you. Uncertainty does not make you afraid. You move with patience, knowing that everything is being arranged in ways beyond your understanding. You do not chase, you do not beg, you do not grasp, you receive. The presence within you draws things toward you, without effort, without strain, without manipulation. What you seek is already seeking you. The desires of your heart are not random. They are planted within you for a reason. You no longer doubt your worthiness to receive. You no longer question whether you are deserving. You know that you are. You understand that you are not waiting for a blessing. You are the blessing. You are not waiting for an answer. You are the answer. Everything you need has already been placed inside of you. You find yourself detached from outcomes. You are no longer afraid of losing, no longer worried about missing an opportunity, no longer obsessed with controlling the process. You trust that what belongs to you cannot be taken, cannot be delayed, cannot be denied. This trust gives you freedom. You move with an open heart, unafraid of disappointment, unafraid of failure, unafraid of the unknown. You no longer hold on too tightly, for you know that what is yours will always return to you. There is a radiance in your presence. It is not forced, not fabricated, not performed. It simply is. You do not need to announce it, for it speaks for itself. People are drawn to you, not because of what you say, but because of what they feel in your presence. There is peace in your energy, wisdom in your silence, love in your very being. You carry something that cannot be explained, only experienced. Without trying, you uplift others. Without effort, you inspire. Without speaking, you remind people of something greater. Your faith is no longer dependent on what you see. You do not need signs to believe. You do not need proof to trust. You simply know. Even in moments of uncertainty, you remain confident. Even when things do not make sense, you remain steadfast. You understand that the presence within you is greater than anything that can come against you. You do not fear the unknown, for you know that you are held. You do not fear the future, for you know that it is already secure. There is a stillness within you. The world may be chaotic, but you are calm. Situations may be unpredictable, but you are steady. People may be unreliable, but you are anchored. You are no longer easily swayed by emotions, no longer reactive to negativity, no longer controlled by external circumstances. You observe, but you do not absorb. You acknowledge, but you do not engage. You understand that your peace is your power, and you guard it fiercely. Things that used to trigger you no longer have the same effect. Where you once would have reacted, you now respond with wisdom. Where you once would have engaged in unnecessary conflict, you now choose silence. Where you once would have fought to prove yourself, you now let your presence speak. You no longer seek validation, for you know that you are already enough. You no longer need permission, for you know that you are already chosen. Your prayers shift. You no longer pray from desperation, but from expectation. You do not beg, you declare. You do not plead, you affirm. You do not hope, you know. Your words carry power, your intentions carry weight, your desires manifest with ease. You understand that your thoughts create, your beliefs shape reality, your faith moves mountains. You are no longer asking for what is already yours, you are stepping into it with certainty. You feel a deep connection to everything around you. Nature speaks to you in ways it never has before. A breeze, a sunset, a quiet moment all feel sacred. You no longer rush through life, but savor it. You no longer overlook the small moments, but cherish them. You realize that presence is not just something you carry, it is something you live. You are fully here, fully aware, fully alive. Your heart expands, compassion flows effortlessly. You forgive easily, not because others deserve it, but because you deserve peace. You release resentment, not because the past changes, but because you refuse to be bound by it. You love without fear, without hesitation, without condition. Your love is not transactional, not limited, not selective. It is pure, abundant, overflowing. You no longer need love to be proven, for you have become love itself. You become an example without trying. Your life speaks louder than your words ever could. Your actions reflect your faith. Your presence reflects your peace. Your being reflects divine love. You do not need to force anyone to understand you, for those who are meant to will see it. You do not need to convince anyone of your worth, for those who recognize truth will honor it. You are a light, and light does not seek permission to shine, it simply shines. You recognize the divine in others. You see beyond appearances, beyond mistakes, beyond limitations. You see people not as they are, but as they are capable of becoming. You speak life into them, not by force, but by presence. You remind them, not with words, but with example. You do not demand change, you inspire it. You do not push growth, you embody it. Everything begins to align in ways you never imagined. Paths open where there were none. Resources appear without explanation. Solutions arise without effort. It is not magic, not coincidence, not luck. It is divine orchestration. It is the natural flow of one who walks with presence, one who trusts the unseen, one who knows that they are guided. There is nothing to fear, nothing to prove, nothing to doubt. You are not waiting for a sign. You are the sign. You are not waiting for confirmation. You are the confirmation. You are not waiting for permission. You are already chosen. You walk with authority, with certainty, with unshakable faith. You do not wonder if you carry presence. You know that you do. And because of that knowing, everything about your life is different. There is a deep sense of knowing that rises within you, a certainty that defies logic, a quiet voice that reassures you in ways no external words ever could. You no longer search for signs outside of yourself because you have come to recognize that the greatest sign is within you. There is no need to seek validation from the world, for the presence you carry is your confirmation. You walk with a confidence that is not arrogant, but assured. It is not based on circumstances, but on truth. Even when things seem unclear, you do not waver. Even when the path is uncertain, you do not fear. The presence within you is your compass, guiding you, directing you, aligning everything for your highest good. Situations that once troubled you no longer have the same power. You do not react as you once did. You no longer feel the need to defend yourself, to prove yourself, to explain yourself. The presence within you has settled every argument before it even begins. There is a peace that speaks louder than words, a stillness that cannot be shaken. The opinions of others no longer define you, for you know who you are. Rejection does not wound you, for you understand that nothing meant for you can ever pass you by. Delay does not discourage you, for you have come to trust divine timing. You are no longer a prisoner of external circumstances. You have become free in the truest sense. Doors open effortlessly. What once required struggle now flows with ease. Where there were obstacles, now there are opportunities. What seemed impossible suddenly becomes inevitable. It is not that life has become easier, but that you have stepped into alignment. You no longer force, no longer chase, no longer manipulate outcomes. Instead, you allow, you trust, you receive. Everything you need is drawn to you, not through effort, but through presence. There is a quiet power in knowing that you do not have to strive, that you do not have to beg, that you do not have to push. What is yours will always find you. Your very being carries authority. It is not in the volume of your words, but in the weight of your presence. You do not need to prove your power, it is felt. You do not need to announce your wisdom, it is known. There is something about you that shifts the atmosphere, something unseen yet undeniable. When you enter a room, things change. People sense it without understanding it. Some are drawn to it, others are unsettled by it, but none can ignore it. It is the mark of those who carry presence. You are no longer easily moved by the opinions of others. Praise does not inflate you, and criticism does not diminish you. You are anchored, grounded, unwavering. You understand that approval from people is fleeting, but the presence within you is eternal. You do not seek to please everyone, for you know that not everyone will understand the path you walk. You do not seek to be understood by all, for you realize that truth is often recognized only by those who are ready to see it. You are at peace with being misunderstood, at ease with walking alone if necessary, content with the knowledge that you are guided. Your relationship with challenges has transformed. What once seemed like opposition now feels like preparation. What once felt like resistance now appears as refinement. You do not resent difficulties, you embrace them. You do not fear hardship, you welcome growth. There is a deep trust that no experience is wasted, that every challenge carries a lesson, that even in the most difficult moments, you are being shaped for something greater. You no longer ask, "Why is this happening to me?" Instead, you ask, "What is this teaching me?" And in that shift, you find strength where others find despair. You begin to notice divine synchronicities unfolding all around you. The right words appear at the right time. The right connections happen effortlessly. Answers come before the questions are even spoken. You are being guided in ways beyond human comprehension, led down a path that was prepared for you long before you were aware of it. The more you trust, the more the signs appear. The more you let go, the more everything aligns. You have stepped into a flow where struggle is replaced by surrender, where worry is replaced by wonder, where fear is replaced by faith. Your desires begin to manifest with precision. You no longer hope for things, you expect them. You do not beg for blessings, you step into them. Your prayers shift from requests to declarations, from asking to affirming, from wishing to knowing. You understand that what you seek is already seeking you. You realize that the dreams placed in your heart were never random. They were divine instructions waiting to be followed. And as you align with that truth, things unfold in ways that leave no doubt. There is an undeniable power in your words. You do not speak idly, for you understand the weight of what you declare. You no longer say things casually, for you know that words shape reality. You choose your thoughts carefully, your speech intentionally, your affirmations with certainty. What you speak, you see. What you believe, you become. You do not entertain negativity. Do not engage in doubt. Do not dwell in fear. Your mind is a garden, and you protect it fiercely. You plant only what you wish to grow. You begin to radiate a love that is unshaken by circumstances. You are no longer easily offended, no longer easily angered, no longer burdened by past hurts. You forgive, not because others deserve it, but because you refuse to carry the weight of resentment. You love, not because of what you receive in return, but because love is your nature. You give freely, expecting nothing, knowing that abundance is your birthright. Your presence heals without effort, uplifts without trying, transforms without force. You recognize divine purpose in everything. Even the smallest moments feel significant. A simple conversation carries deeper meaning. A quiet moment becomes sacred. You no longer rush through life, but savor it. You no longer overlook the ordinary, but find the extraordinary within it. Life itself becomes a reflection of the presence you carry. Your faith is no longer something you practice occasionally. It is something you live. It is in the way you walk, the way you speak, the way you move through the world. It is in your stillness, in your confidence, in your ability to trust even when nothing makes sense. You are no longer seeking miracles, you have become one. You are no longer searching for signs, you are the sign. You do not wait for confirmation, you are already chosen. And because of that knowing, you carry yourself differently, you think differently, speak differently, move differently. Everything around you begins to reflect the presence within you. People sense it before you speak. Opportunities align without effort. Doors open without knocking. You do not chase. You do not grasp. You do not force. You trust. You receive. You embody. The presence within you is undeniable. It is seen. It is felt. It is known. It is who you are. You are no longer waiting for a sign because you have become the sign. You are no longer searching for answers outside of yourself because the truth has always been within you. The presence you carry is not something you strive for, it is something you surrender to. It is not something you chase, it is something you embody. The moment you recognize it, everything changes. Your steps are guided, your path is clear, and your spirit is at peace. Walk boldly, knowing that you do not move alone. Speak with authority, knowing that your words shape reality. Trust unwaveringly, knowing that what is meant for you will always find you. Carry this presence with humility, with certainty, and with love. For when you do not just live, you transform. And through you, the world sees the undeniable proof that God is with you.
There exists a reality beyond what your senses perceive. A world where thought shapes matter, where imagination precedes form. This is the power of quantum thinking, the understanding that your mind is not just an observer of life, but the creator of it. When you embrace this, everything changes. The limits you once believed in dissolve, and the impossible becomes inevitable. Your world is not separate from you, it is an extension of your consciousness. A mirror reflecting back the sum total of your dominant thoughts, beliefs, and assumptions. If you desire to understand why your life looks the way it does, you must turn inward, for everything you see in the external world is simply the physical manifestation of what you have accepted as true within. There are no exceptions to this law. The people you meet, the opportunities that come your way, the obstacles that appear, everything is responding to the inner dialogue that runs within your mind. Change that dialogue, and you change the reflection. Most people live as though reality is something fixed, something independent of their perception. They believe that circumstances happen to them, that life is a series of random events they must react to. But this is an illusion, a misunderstanding of how creation truly works. Your mind is not a passive observer. It is the force that determines what is brought into your experience, the thoughts you entertain, the emotions you allow to linger, and the beliefs you hold with conviction. All of these shape the world you walk through. If you persist in the belief that life is a struggle, that success is difficult, and that happiness is fleeting, then that is precisely what will be reflected back to you. Every situation, every encounter will reinforce the assumption you hold, not because the world is against you, but because it is obediently mirroring what you expect. The mirror does not question the image it reflects. It simply shows what is placed before it. Likewise, the world does not challenge your assumptions. It merely brings them into form. If you accept lack, limitation, and fear as truth, they will materialize. If you accept abundance, ease, and joy as reality, they will become your experience. The process of transformation begins with understanding that there is no separation between your inner world and your outer world. They are one and the same. Your external conditions are merely the crystallization of past thoughts and beliefs. If you wish to change your reality, you must begin at the source. You must shift the way you think. This requires a level of awareness that most people never cultivate. It demands that you observe your thoughts without attachment, that you become conscious of the assumptions you carry, and that you deliberately choose the mental images you entertain. It is not enough to wish for change. You must embody it within before it can appear without. Imagine standing before a mirror and frowning, hoping that the reflection will smile back at you. It is an impossibility. The reflection can only change when you change. The same is true for your life. If you desire love, embody love within. If you desire success, cultivate the mindset of success before any external evidence appears. This is where most people falter. They wait for the world to change before they allow themselves to think differently. But the world is only a shadow, an effect, never the cause. Your mind is the cause. When you grasp this truth, you realize that nothing outside of you has power over you. Circumstances do not dictate your destiny. Your thoughts do. There is an infinite intelligence that governs all things, and it does not respond to your wishes or your fleeting desires. It responds to what you believe to be true with unwavering certainty. If you want to know what you truly believe, look at your life, for it is the sum total of all that you have assumed to be real. But the beauty of this truth is that at any moment, you can change it. The instant you decide to think differently, to hold a new vision in your mind, the process of transformation begins. There is no delay, no waiting period. The mirror must obey the new image. To master this understanding is to master life itself. There is no power outside of you that is shaping your destiny. You are the creator, and your reality is your creation. If you do not like what you see, do not attempt to fight the reflection. Change the source. The moment you take full responsibility for the world you experience, you reclaim the power that has always been yours. Everything changes when you realize that the world is not happening to you, it is happening through you. Assumption is the unseen force that determines the course of your life. It is not wishful thinking, nor is it mere daydreaming. Assumption is a deep, unquestioned acceptance of something as true. It is the silent law that governs everything you experience. What you assume with conviction, whether consciously or unconsciously, becomes the framework upon which your reality is built. The world does not bring you what you desire. It brings you what you assume to be inevitable. This is why two people can live in the same environment, face the same external conditions, and yet experience completely different realities. Their assumptions, held within the depths of their minds, dictate the circumstances that unfold before them. Most people are unaware of the assumptions that control their lives. They wake up each day and move through the world on autopilot, repeating the same thoughts, reinforcing the same beliefs, and assuming the same limitations. They do not question why certain patterns persist, why certain obstacles seem to reappear, or why certain blessings never reach them. But the truth is, their outer world is simply reflecting back the assumptions they have accepted as fact. If someone assumes that wealth is only for a select few, their life will constantly validate that belief. If they assume that love is difficult to find, they will unconsciously sabotage every opportunity for genuine connection. If they assume that success is effortless and inevitable, doors will open in ways that seem almost magical. The world conforms not to what you say you want, but to what you believe with certainty. The power of assumption is not limited by time or circumstance. It does not matter where you have been or what you have experienced in the past. The moment you assume a new truth, the process of creation begins. If you were to assume, without doubt, that you are already the person you wish to be, your world would shift to reflect that reality. It is not about forcing change through effort. It is about embodying the feeling of already having what you seek. The mind cannot distinguish between what is real and what is imagined with full conviction. When you assume something is true, your actions, your words, and even your subconscious behavior align with that assumption. You begin to radiate a different energy, and the world has no choice but to reflect it back to you. The greatest mistake people make is assuming things based on their current circumstances. They look at their bank account, their relationships, their career, and they assume that what they see is all there is. They reinforce the same reality by assuming that nothing will change unless something external forces it to change. But the key to transformation is assuming something greater before the evidence appears. You do not wait to see proof before you believe. You believe first, and the proof must follow. The world is a mirror, always reflecting what is held within. If you wish to see a new reflection, you must assume a new reality. To harness this power, you must learn to discipline your mind. You cannot allow yourself to waver between doubt and certainty. The assumption must be firm, unwavering, and lived in as though it were already your truth. If you desire success, do not merely wish for it, assume it is already yours. Feel the certainty of it. Walk through life as though it is inevitable. If you desire love, do not hope for it, assume it is already present. Feel the joy, the fulfillment, and the gratitude as if you are already living in that reality. The universe does not operate on hope. It operates on certainty. When you assume something with conviction, it must take shape in your world. Most people wait for their circumstances to change before they change their assumptions, but this is a fundamental misunderstanding of how creation works. The cause is always within, and the effect is always without. When you shift your assumptions, you shift the entire trajectory of your life. There is no force more powerful than a mind that assumes its desires are already fulfilled. Every great achievement, every breakthrough, every moment of transformation begins with an assumption. What you assume, you become. What you become, you experience. And once you master this, you realize that destiny is not something outside of you. It is something you create from within. The greatest illusion that keeps people trapped in limitation is the belief that their past determines their future. They look at their history, their failures, their disappointments, and assume that these things must continue, but this is a misunderstanding of the power contained within the present moment. Right now, in this very instant, you hold within you the potential to shift your entire reality. The past has no power over you unless you continue to carry it forward in your mind. The future is not something waiting for you out there. It is something being shaped by your current state of being. When you understand this, you realize that nothing outside of this moment has any real control over what comes next. Everything that has ever been created, everything that has ever manifested into reality has emerged from the present moment. There is no other place where creation happens. The mind, however, loves to dwell in the past, replaying old stories, reinforcing old assumptions, and recycling old fears. Or it leaps into the future, filled with worry and doubt, trying to control outcomes that have not yet arrived. But true power is found only in the now. It is in this moment that you decide who you are, what you believe, and what you will experience. It is in this moment that you choose whether to align with lack or abundance, with fear or faith, with doubt or certainty. Every great shift begins with this realization. The present moment is all there is, and within it lies infinite potential. The only reason people remain stuck in cycles of limitation is because they refuse to fully claim the present moment. They allow their past to dictate what they believe is possible. They hesitate, waiting for circumstances to change before they decide to think differently. But the truth is, reality changes the moment you do. When you choose right now to assume a new identity, to believe in a new possibility, to feel a new state of being, the world must conform. It cannot be otherwise. The universe does not operate on time. It operates on consciousness. Whatever you accept as real in this moment is what begins to crystallize into form. Most people believe they must first see results before they can feel different. They believe they must have the money before they feel wealthy, find the relationship before they feel loved, achieve the success before they feel accomplished. But this is backwards. You must first feel it within, now, before any external evidence appears. The energy you hold in this moment determines what unfolds next. If you remain in a state of waiting, you will always be waiting. If you remain in a state of doubt, you will always find reasons to doubt. But if you step into the feeling of already having, already being, already living the reality you desire, everything must shift to match that state. Nothing outside of you has any control over the infinite potential contained within this moment. It does not matter where you have been or what circumstances surround you right now. What matters is what you decide to accept as true in this instant. If you declare with absolute conviction that you are already the person you wish to be, then in that moment the transformation begins. It does not matter if your senses tell you otherwise. The senses only reflect past assumptions. The truth is shaped by what you assume right now. You must train yourself to ignore the old reflections and focus only on the reality you wish to create. The present moment is the gateway to everything you desire. It is not something to pass through mindlessly. It is something to claim, something to mold, something to wield with precision and certainty. The difference between those who manifest their desires effortlessly and those who struggle is this. The former understand that the power lies in the present. They do not wait for circumstances to align before they shift their mindset. They know that the moment they assume a new truth, reality begins to rearrange itself to reflect it. They do not seek signs. They become the signs. They do not chase change. They embody it. And because they do this, the universe has no choice but to respond. Creation happens now. The only question is, what are you choosing in this moment? The conversations you have within yourself, the words you silently repeat, and the thoughts you allow to circulate in your mind are the architects of your reality. Every moment, whether you realize it or not, you are engaged in an internal dialogue that is shaping the course of your life. This dialogue is not random, nor is it inconsequential. It is the blueprint from which your external world is constructed. What you consistently tell yourself becomes the foundation upon which your experiences unfold. If you wish to understand why your life looks the way it does, listen carefully to the words you speak within. Most people are completely unaware of the power of their inner dialogue. They allow their minds to run on autopilot, filled with thoughts of doubt, fear, and limitation. They complain internally about their struggles, dwell on their past mistakes, and repeat old stories of failure and rejection. And then they wonder why their lives continue to reflect those very things. They do not realize that the words they whisper to themselves in private are the very seeds that take root and manifest in the world around them. The mind is always listening, always responding, always creating. It does not judge whether your inner dialogue is positive or negative. It simply accepts what you repeatedly impress upon it as truth. If you constantly tell yourself that life is hard, that money is scarce, that love is difficult to find, then your mind will shape your reality to confirm these beliefs. Every experience, every circumstance, every encounter will reflect back to you the assumptions you have accepted. But the opposite is also true. If you deliberately shift your inner dialogue to one of confidence, abundance, and certainty, then your external world must shift accordingly. The change does not begin outside of you, it begins within. The conversations you have with yourself in the privacy of your own mind are far more powerful than any action you take. To transform your reality, you must first transform the way you speak to yourself. You must become aware of every thought, every assumption, every word that passes through your mind. You must ask yourself, am I speaking as the person I wish to be? Am I affirming the reality I desire? Or am I reinforcing the limitations of my past? The shift begins when you take full control of your inner dialogue, when you refuse to entertain thoughts that contradict your vision, and when you consciously replace old patterns with new, empowering beliefs. It is not enough to simply want change. You must speak it into existence within yourself. This is not about forcing positivity or pretending that challenges do not exist. It is about choosing to see beyond temporary appearances, about holding firm to the truth that your thoughts are the source of all creation. Even in moments of difficulty, you must train yourself to speak as though the outcome is already assured. You must remind yourself that reality is always responding to your inner dialogue. If you declare success, success must follow. If you declare love, love must find you. If you declare abundance, abundance must appear. The key is persistence. Your new inner dialogue must become so natural, so habitual, that it replaces the old patterns entirely. You cannot afford to be careless with your words, not even in the privacy of your own mind. Every sentence you repeat is a command to the universe, a decree that will be fulfilled. If you constantly say to yourself, I am struggling, the universe will give you more struggle. If you say, things never work out for me, you will find yourself in situations where nothing works out. But if you replace those words with, everything is always working in my favor, you will begin to see evidence of that truth manifesting in your life. Reality is fluid, shaped by the energy of your thoughts and words. The only question is, what are you instructing it to create? The mastery of inner dialogue is the mastery of life itself. When you train your mind to speak only what you wish to experience, when you refuse to entertain any thought that contradicts your desires, when you make your inner conversation one of certainty, faith, and power, then the world has no choice but to align with your words. You do not need to seek change externally. You need only to shift your dialogue internally. And when you do, everything must rearrange itself to match the story you have been telling yourself all along. Thought alone is not enough to create change. Words, no matter how often repeated, are powerless if they are not backed by genuine feeling. It is the emotional charge behind your thoughts that impresses them upon your subconscious mind and sets the forces of creation into motion. You may affirm success, abundance, or love with your words, but if you do not feel it as real, if you do not embody the state of having it now, nothing will shift. The universe does not respond to empty words. It responds to the energy behind them. What you feel deeply and consistently is what materializes in your life. Most people try to manifest their desires while still feeling lack, doubt, or frustration. They speak affirmations of wealth while feeling poor. They visualize love while feeling lonely. They attempt to create success while feeling unworthy of it. And because their dominant feeling contradicts their desire, nothing changes. The subconscious mind does not listen to what you say. It listens to what you feel. This is why two people can hold the same desire, repeat the same affirmations, and practice the same techniques, yet one succeeds while the other struggles. The difference is not in their words or their actions, but in the feeling they consistently dwell in. To manifest anything, you must become it in feeling before you see it in form. This does not mean simply imagining a better future. It means experiencing the emotions of that future now, in the present moment. If you desire wealth, you must cultivate the feeling of financial security before the money arrives. If you desire love, you must feel love before the person appears. If you desire success, you must walk with the confidence of one who has already achieved it. The world is a mirror reflecting back not your wishes, but your state of being. When you embody the feeling of already having what you desire, reality has no choice but to conform. Most people make the mistake of believing that their feelings must follow their circumstances. They wait for something outside of them to change before they allow themselves to feel different. But this is backwards. Feeling is the cause, not the effect. It is not success that brings confidence. It is confidence that brings success. It is not wealth that creates security. It is security that attracts wealth. It is not love that makes you feel whole. It is feeling whole that brings love into your life. The moment you shift your feeling state, the outer world begins to rearrange itself to reflect it. This is why dwelling in frustration, doubt, or impatience delays what you seek. Every moment spent in the feeling of lack reinforces lack. Every moment spent in the feeling of unworthiness confirms unworthiness. But every moment spent in the feeling of fulfillment accelerates the process of manifestation. The key is to persist in the feeling, even when external circumstances seem unchanged. Most people give up too soon because they do not see instant results. They allow doubt to creep in, and in doing so, they undo the work they have already done. For those who understand this principle, know that the shift happens within first, and the evidence follows. You do not need to force change, struggle, or chase anything outside of you. You need only to dwell in the feeling of already having it. The easiest way to do this is to engage your imagination fully. Close your eyes and step into the reality of your desire. See it, hear it, but most importantly, feel it. Feel the relief, the joy, the excitement. Let the feeling consume you until it becomes natural, until it is the state you return to effortlessly. The more you dwell in that state, the faster your reality will shift. The secret to effortless manifestation is understanding that the feeling of the wish fulfilled is the bridge between where you are and where you want to be. It is not a passive process. It requires discipline and persistence. It requires a refusal to accept appearances that contradict your inner state. When you master your feelings, you master your reality. And when you finally align with the state of already having, you will see the world bend to reflect it in ways that seem almost miraculous. The moment you decide what you desire, the universe begins to shift, aligning events, people, and circumstances to bring it into your experience. But most people, after setting their intentions, immediately start questioning how it will happen, when it will appear, and whether it is even possible. This is where resistance enters. The need to control the process, to force outcomes, or to anxiously monitor progress creates a state of tension that delays manifestation. The truth is, you are not responsible for orchestrating the details of how your desire will unfold. Your only job is to remain in the state of already having it, trusting that the unseen forces of creation are working on your behalf. When you plant a seed in the soil, you do not dig it up every day to check if it is growing. You trust that nature is taking care of it, that the roots are forming beneath the surface even before you see any visible signs. The same principle applies to your manifestations. The moment you feel the reality of your desire is already accomplished, it has been set into motion. But if you constantly doubt, question, or seek reassurance from the outer world, you disrupt the process. You must learn to let go, to detach from needing to know the specifics, and to trust that it is already done. Most people struggle with detachment because they are conditioned to rely on physical evidence before they believe something is real. They want signs, confirmations, and immediate proof. But faith does not work this way. Faith is knowing before seeing. It is holding the feeling of certainty, even in the absence of visible change. When you truly believe that your manifestation is inevitable, you no longer feel the need to chase, force, or control anything. You rest in the assurance that what is yours is already on its way. There is a subtle yet powerful shift that happens when you detach from the how and when. You move from a state of desperation to a state of expectancy. Desperation pushes what you want further away because it reinforces the feeling of lack. Expectancy, on the other hand, brings it closer because it aligns you with the feeling of already having. When you trust that your manifestation is unfolding perfectly, you release the mental resistance that blocks it. The less you try to force it, the faster it arrives. Many people unknowingly delay their desires because they obsess over timing. They set deadlines in their minds, and when things do not happen according to their schedule, they start doubting, worrying, or changing their approach. This inconsistency creates mixed signals that confuse the subconscious mind. The universe operates on perfect timing, not human impatience. Just as a flower blooms when the conditions are right, your manifestation will appear when it aligns with the highest good. If something is delayed, it is not because it is not happening. It is because something even better is being prepared. The most powerful state you can embody is one of complete trust. Trust that the path is unfolding in ways you cannot yet see. Trust that every delay is working in your favor. Trust that you do not need to chase, struggle, or manipulate circumstances. The moment you release control and surrender to the process, things begin to shift effortlessly. You will notice synchronicities, unexpected opportunities, and divine timing working in your favor. Detachment does not mean indifference. It means unwavering faith. It means knowing that your desire is already yours and allowing it to come in the most natural way. When you let go of the need to figure out every detail, when you release worry and impatience, you create space for miracles. The path may not always unfold as you imagined, but it will always lead you to exactly where you are meant to be. Let go, trust, and watch as the universe delivers what was already destined to be yours. Every experience in your life is a direct reflection of the identity you hold within yourself. Who you believe you are determines what you attract, what you accept, and what you expect from the world. If you see yourself as someone who struggles, life will continuously provide struggles to confirm that identity. If you see yourself as wealthy, opportunities for wealth will naturally find their way to you. If you believe yourself to be loved and valued, the world will mirror that back to you. The shift in your external reality does not come from forcing change. It comes from embodying a new version of yourself, one that aligns with the life you desire. Many people try to create change while clinging to an old identity that contradicts their desires. They want to manifest abundance while still identifying as someone who struggles financially. They want deep, fulfilling relationships while still carrying the identity of someone who's unworthy of love. They want confidence and success while still believing they are not enough. This internal conflict keeps them stuck because no matter how much action they take, their subconscious mind will always bring them back to the identity they believe to be true. Reality cannot outgrow the limits of the self, him, you hold. The key to transformation is not in effort, struggle, or external validation. It is in the decision to become the version of yourself that already has what you seek. This is not about pretending or faking confidence. It is about genuinely shifting your internal perception. You must ask yourself, how would I think, feel, and act if I were already the person I desire to be? What choices would I make? What standards would I hold? How would I carry myself? And then you must begin to live from that state, even before you see any physical proof. Your subconscious mind does not know the difference between what is real and what is imagined. It simply accepts whatever you repeatedly affirm as truth. If you continuously think, feel, and act in alignment with your desired identity, your subconscious will rewire itself to reflect that new version of you. This is how lasting change occurs, not by trying to manipulate external circumstances, but by shifting who you believe yourself to be at the core. The moment you genuinely assume a new identity, The world has no choice but to rearrange itself to match. Most people wait for external validation before they allow themselves to shift. They wait for the money before they feel abundant. They wait for the love before they feel worthy. They wait for success before they feel confident. But this approach only keeps them trapped in their current circumstances. The truth is, external reality is always a delayed reflection of your internal state. If you wait for something outside of you to change before you shift within, you will always be waiting. The real power lies in making the shift first, choosing to embody the identity of your highest self now, regardless of what the physical world currently reflects. This process requires persistence. Your mind will try to pull you back into old patterns, reinforcing the beliefs and habits that have shaped your past. But you must remain unwavering. You must remind yourself daily of who you are becoming. You must speak, think, and act as that person until it becomes second nature. The world may not immediately reflect your new identity, but if you persist, the shift is inevitable. Reality must conform to the dominant state you hold. When you finally embrace this truth, everything changes. You stop chasing, doubting, and questioning. You no longer seek permission or external validation. You simply become. And when you become, everything you once desired naturally flows to you. Not because you forced it, but because it is now simply a reflection of who you are. The moment you shift your thinking, your entire reality transforms. You are not bound by circumstances, past experiences, or external limitations. You are the creator, shaping your world with the power of your consciousness. When you understand that your thoughts, feelings, and identity dictate what manifests in your life, you reclaim control over your destiny. You are no longer a passive observer reacting to life. You become an active participant, directing it with intention, detached from the how and when, knowing that the universe works in perfect alignment with your belief. Feel your desires as already fulfilled. Trust the unseen forces moving on your behalf, and embody the identity of the person who already has everything you seek. This is the secret to quantum thinking. It is not about waiting for change, but becoming the change first. When you master your inner world, your outer world must follow. Doors will open effortlessly, opportunities will flow, and miracles will become your norm. There is no struggle, no force, only alignment. Live as though your desires are already yours, and they will be. The reality you seek is not ahead of you. It exists now, within you. Step into it, and everything will shift.